General Hospital. Brooke Lynn's breaking point sets the stage for a vengeful reckoning in the unpredictable world of Port Charles. Grudges fester quietly beneath the polished exteriors of the town's elite, and when secrets are exposed under the glare of chandeliers and the watchful eyes of gossipers, the fallout is nothing short of explosive. For Brooke Lynn Quartermaine, the unraveling of her carefully guarded truth has pushed her beyond the limits of tolerance, and the target of her wrath is crystal clear: Lulu Spencer. The recent events at the annual Nurses' Ball, traditionally a night for glamour and charity, quickly spiraled into chaos when Lulu, with trademark boldness and questionable timing, cornered Lois Cerullo in front of an unwelcome audience. In what should have been a celebratory evening, Lulu turned the spotlight into a weapon, confronting Lois with accusations and implications that Brooke Lynn had kept a devastating secret. The target of that secret? Gio Palmieri, Brooke Lynn's own son, a young man oblivious to the truth of his parentage and destined for heartbreak. With that single confrontation, Lulu didn't just set off a scandal, she detonated a bomb that would fracture relationships, upend trust, and drive Brooke Lynn to the edge of retaliation. What made Lulu's public confrontation particularly venomous wasn't just its timing, it was its intent. Rather than speaking to Brooke Lynn privately, giving her the chance to confront her mother or explain her side of the story, Lulu took it upon herself to stage a dramatic reveal. Her assumption? That Brooke Lynn had known all along and was complicit in hiding the truth. But what if she was wrong? The truth is more complicated. Brooke Lynn had never been fully aware that Giovanni was her biological son. His conception and adoption had been clouded by years of suppressed memories, half-truths, and miscommunication. But none of that mattered to Lulu. For her, this was an opportunity, not to help Gio, not to bring peace, but to wound Brooke Lynn at her most vulnerable point. And it worked. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Gio, now reeling from the revelation, feels emotionally shattered. His world, a fragile structure built on identity, loyalty, and family, is crumbling. In his mind, Brooke Lynn is the architect of his pain, a mother who abandoned him and a father who never claimed him. But the wound isn't his alone. Brooke Lynn, blindsided by both the revelation and its delivery, now finds herself at the center of a scandal that has humiliated her and destroyed the delicate bond she had only just begun to form with her son. Her anger is righteous, but it's more than that. It's primal. It's maternal. And it demands action. This is where Brooke Lynn's transformation begins. No longer content to play the role of the victim, she begins to consider her options, not just for damage control, but for justice. For accountability. For revenge. Enter Harrison Chase, Brooke Lynn's husband and Port Charles police officer. Chase, always her anchor, finds himself caught in the crosshairs between duty and devotion. Yet his support for Brooke Lynn is unwavering. As she reels from Lulu's betrayal, he provides more than a shoulder to cry on. He offers her a path forward. Brooke Lynn's plan begins with a request: surveillance footage from the Metro Court, the location of Martin Gray's suite, the very place where Lulu, disguised as hotel staff, illegally entered in a reckless quest for further evidence to bolster her claims. This was no act of civil concern. It was espionage wrapped in self-righteousness. Brooke Lynn suspects that if she can prove Lulu's unlawful entry, she can expose her rival not just as a meddler, but as a criminal. Chase, hesitant but loyal, navigates the murky ethical waters. Under the guise of pursuing leads for an unrelated case, he obtains the footage, which clearly shows Lulu trespassing. His warning to Lulu is veiled but unmistakable: drop the adoption clause she's been aggressively pushing, or face arrest. But Brooke Lynn knows that Lulu won't stop. Dropping the clause was merely a strategic retreat, not a surrender. Lulu is too invested in her personal war against Brooke Lynn, too intoxicated by the moral high ground she believes she occupies. She views herself as a crusader for truth, but in Brooke Lynn's eyes, she's nothing more than an opportunist dressed in white armor, weaponizing family trauma for personal vendetta. The confrontation between the two women isn't just a clash of personalities. It's a full-fledged ideological war. Brooke Lynn believes in family loyalty, discretion, and protecting loved ones from truths that can shatter them. Lulu believes in transparency, even if it cuts others to the bone. But in this latest skirmish, it's clear that Lulu has crossed a line, and Brooke Lynn is no longer interested in playing fair. There's a storm coming, and Brooke Lynn is preparing to be its eye. Her next steps are methodical and calculated. With Chase's quiet backing and her Quartermaine resilience, she begins to build a case, not just legal, but personal. She documents Lulu's intrusions, her manipulations, and her complete disregard for Gio's emotional well-being. Her goal isn't to destroy Lulu completely, but to force her to face the consequences of her actions and recognize the damage she has done to a young man's sense of self. For Brooke Lynn, this isn't just about revenge. It's about reclaiming her power, her motherhood, and her narrative. She refuses to let Lulu define her in the eyes of Gio, Dante, or anyone else. And if that means dragging Lulu into court, into scandal, into disgrace, so be it. As summer deepens in Port Charles, so too does the tension between two women who were once bound by shared history and mutual circles. But those ties have now frayed beyond repair. Brooke Lynn isn't the same woman Lulu once knew. She's hardened, wiser, and ready to fight not just for herself, but for the son whose trust she must now rebuild from the ashes. And as for Lulu? She may soon learn that crossing a Quartermaine comes with consequences, swift, public, and irreversible.